Hello, and welcome to Manapot Studios' Blood on the Bayou, a very limited run vampire stream set in 1920s Houston, Texas. My name is Mark, and I will be your storyteller for this evening. Thank you all for joining us this magnificent day. It is a good night to be a vampire. I am joined, as always, by my fantastic players. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Let's go ahead and get started with Ray.
Hi guys, I'm Ray. I am playing Eleanor May Taylor. She is a toreador and the bar owner that we frequent. I also play in a Starfinder game. It's our last episode in July, so please check back and come watch us play. Happy to play with that crew, but we're gonna send her off. That's all for me.
Damn. Sad to hear. It's been running for a long time.
Yeah, very long time.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Crifu Bernal, all over the interwebs. You can find me on Twitter at Crifu Bernal, Twitch Crifu Bernal, Instagram, TikTok, etc. I am also a streamer and role player and producer here at Manapot Studios. You can find me here every Monday night with a different Starfinder show called All That Glitters Explodes. And then you can find me on my own channel every Friday now. I've switched it up, where I'm streaming a solo Pathfinder run through of the adventure path Skull and Shackles called The Spear and the Sea. Tune in this Friday at 8 p.m. Central European Time, 7 p.m. GMT, where I'm taking on the final boss of Riptide Cove. It should be pretty epic. The party has buffed themselves to the nth degree in preparation for this fight.
It's wonderful. And then lastly, we have
me. Hello, everyone. I'm Helen Rubin. This is my first and only stream at the moment, and let's see what happens tonight.
All right. So we all left our coterie of the kindred last week as they found and dispatched of a young woman named Hortensia, brought her before the prince. The prince saw it fitting to execute her right then and right there, which Jace performed the dirty deed. So then later on in the evening, the coterie decided to the prince then asked them to bring Darius, another vampire that they have recently found, who was recently turned. And the prince was requested his presence. So the coterie has ended the last session with them bringing Darius to the prince. So we're pretty much going to pick up right where we left off. The night is young in Houston this evening. I want to say it's probably like right around 9 o'clock. So still very, very early. The whole night ahead of you. You all, I believe Darius and Ellie Mae hitched a ride on Cisco, and Jason and Rebecca took a cab to the courthouse where, in the catacombs underneath, the prince lie in wait for his trusted coterie to make an appearance. The story picks up with Cisco arriving maybe around the same time, if not maybe like a minute or two after the cab drops off the rest of the party. What do you do before you make your way into the catacombs? And we lost Chris.
Oh no. Chris, can you still hear us?
No, I think he's dropped completely. It wouldn't be a Manapot stream without some technical difficulties every now and then. There he is.
One for good luck.
One for good luck. Yes.
My back.
Yes, you're back, but you sound like an inebriated robot.
Not good.
Well, let's see if we can try to power through this one. You all have made your way.
It might be better if I restart. I'm sorry.
Okay. Dear viewers, give us just a few minutes. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Dear viewers, we are back. Thank you all so much for your patience. We have, let's just pick up right where we left off from this session. You all have just arrived at the courthouse. What do you do?
I'm gonna get off the horse and start fixing my hair to look presentable. Wow, that horse sure can ride. I haven't been on a beast like that and I don't know when.
Darius.
Arrive after
Darius.
them, right?
So Darius is kind of getting off as well. Sorry, just chatting. Darius gets off of the horse and he's just like, yeah, I'm a little bit more used to it through the through my trade. But you handled yourself pretty good there, Miss Taylor.
And fix it.
And then again, it is the two of you all also have pulled up in your cab as well.
Oh.
So you should all be there in the kind of like in the outside of the parking lot back of the I say parking lot as if it's 2021 in the big out the open behind the gravel lot out back of the courthouse here in Houston.
So I'll step out first and I offer my hand. to Rebecca.
I exit the car in a bitch face. Kinda, okay. This time I'm going to do it right.
Yeah, so Darius is just kind of pacing back and forth with his hands on his hips, just gonna deep breaths. Okay, what do I have to?
Do I see them?
Yeah. You guys are like kind of all out in the back here. The cab, the guy like that's on the carriage, kind of like gives you all kind of some weird looks as he rides off. Darius pacing back and forth. Okay, what exactly should I expect here, and what's the kind of decorum? What's like expected of me in this meeting?
Try to look professional. Try to be, well, kind and gentle with the prince. Maybe a bow will do the trick. You're not in a good position. We're going to try to help you, but no hard feelings if we don't.
No. He just kind of gives an uneasy look towards both Jace and Rebecca, and then he looks back at Ellie and says, "Now, Miss Taylor, I thank you for all that you did and getting me in these nice digs. If there's anything I can do to repay you, if I guess live to see the end of this night, I'll be sure to do so."
Ellie's gonna fix the collar of his shirt. They're like, just worry about right now.
Yes, sir. All right. All right, and then
We do all know that if someone, and I look at Jace, offers to mentor him into the kindred society, it is going to be very helpful for keeping him alive, right? I'm just saying.
Right. Darius, I'm putting my reputation on the line here for you. I understand that you don't got much of a choice as far as what's about to happen, but I hope you can understand that we all are putting ourselves in a bit of a risky situation here for you.
I definitely appreciate it. And like he goes to take off a hat that's not there. You can just tell that he's doing this out of just like practice behavior when dealing with people who look different than him. But like he just kind of like, again, he's also not used to being in such fancy clothes. And he just says, I definitely appreciate it. And same like what I just said for Miss Taylor goes for the rest of you. If I see the end of this night, then I'll do what I can to help you out from here on out.
Well, I'll give you a lesson regarding boons later tonight if you survive this. And I guess we can go and try. It's meaningless to make plans without knowing what the prince is going to decide. Remember, he holds your life in his fingers, as he does with all of us, while we're in the city.
I'll make sure that Cisco. I'll make sure that Cisco is looks like he's tied up, on a hitching post.
Yeah.
And then get ready to go.
All right. So Darius says, "Well, I mean, this is my first time in here. I wouldn't presume to lead the way. So after you," and he kind of like motions to one of you to go first.
I'll take the lead.
Okay.
And start heading down. Right? Yes.
Yeah.
In and down.
It's kind of the same thing. Sorry?
I take off my hat as we enter.
Oh, excuse me. So you all enter in, and it's the same thing as before. You kind of go to the back, enter into the back room or the back entrance of the courthouse, and there's like a little storage closet in the kitchen, I believe we said it was, in the back that ends up being like a tunneled out, like burrow, I guess is maybe is a proper way to say it, that just leads downwards and downwards for a few minutes until you reach like what appears to be like a big, like hollowed out tunnel. In the time that you were here last night, but in the time that you guys were gone, some of the stuff has already been rearranged. So you can tell that he probably has people like working during the day as well. when you come in, as you make your way to like the same open area, he was like kind of out in the open before, but he's not sitting in the same like little desk area that he was last night. There is a little room in the back, which I think Eleanor may have known about since you were the most familiar with the prince. That's usually kind of like not necessarily like, I'm thinking of like ship terms, like a ready room, but like it's more of like his private chambers within there. And you can see that there is candle light coming from inside, and there is loud bickering in Spanish.
Interesting.
So we walked.
Voices.
Sorry, Eleanor, one more time.
I'm just confirming we walked into like the front part of his office area, right?
Yeah, correct. The same place where you were last time, because it's still so new and everything is like still kind of in the process of being made. There really isn't more than just this big like main area and then like his little private chambers behind there. And
do we hear
think
multiple voices?
You hear two different voices. One is clearly the prince. You heard him speak Spanish last night when he was speaking to Hortensia before she was dispatched. And then you hear another one that's in Spanish. And this one's a little bit more rough. You can tell that this Spanish is definitely not the first language of the person that he is, you assume, berating with the tone of his voice.
Can I roll anything to see if with my little bit of Spanish if I understand anything?
You know what? Let's have you roll with intelligence, and let me have you roll with maybe awareness.
I think academics gives you multiple languages.
Sorry.
I don't have anything in academics.
Well, intelligence then.
Yay! One success.
You can always rouse the blood, boost your brain power for a minute.
Yeah, but
Or spend willpower.
Or spend willpower for rerolls. Don't forget that.
How many dice did you have just to roll that?
2.
Yeah. So 1 out of 2 successes. Okay. All right. Well, you can pick out like a few words. The words that you are able to pick out, you can tell that like I said before, he's berating this person. The other person you can make out sounds like a male voice, and that I think you're hearing like failure and coward come up.
I'm not sure, but I think he's calling him a failure and a coward. That's all I can tell.
The prince, the other guy, right?
I think the prince is calling the other man that.
Correct. Yes.
That's usual.
I'm not sure. Didn't he have? Wait, sorry, not in that voice. I'm asking you, Mark. Didn't he have like a kind of a bodyguard or second hand of sorts when he first came to the Midnight Rose?
Yes, Maurice was the name.
Maurice. All right. Do we recognize that voice, or?
You haven't really heard him talk a lot, so it wouldn't be something you'd be able to pick out without. I mean, if you would be able to, if you saw him talking, yeah, for sure, that's Maurice. But through the door, you guys just woke up. Like,
it seems like a terrible time to disturb Prince.
Well, we are also on a mission, and he ordered us to bring him here. So technically, we are following his orders.
That's true.
Maybe we can wait for a moment to see if they stop.
Yeah, I agree. We don't got much time to waste. The sooner we get this over with, the sooner we can get back to our investigation.
And when you see Rebecca like writing something in secrecy.
Nice. So I'll go up to the door and like kind of wait for like a lull in the argument, and then knock.
yeah, so there it's definitely like the it's not as heated as when you entered, so maybe like you have to wait for another minute before you start to notice that the voices are calming down a bit. They're both still speaking Spanish, which I don't know that Jace would be familiar with at all.
A few words here and there, work in the range.
Nothing you would have heard out on the out in the fields.
Exactly.
Where you
If it doesn't have to do with cattle or weather or wolves, coyotes, he doesn't know it.
Okay, then yeah. So you hear for like a faint or like for like a little notice with a little knock on the door. The prince says something like kind of says in exasperated breath, something in Spanish. It's like, enter.
May I do an intelligence etiquette check to see what is the most appropriate thing to do now?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Four successes.
Yeah. So you may not know how that much about Prince David, but I'm assuming you know about Clan Ventru and those of the blue blood. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, they appreciate you showing the proper respect, and especially like as prince, and like treating them like the royalty that they so not desperately believe, but so like it's that's ingrained into them. So you would think that just like the way that like everything that the only misstep, I would say, it's not even that much of a misstep so far, was that when he when he threw the sword down, you weren't the first to pick it up. So I think you would know like all of your senses that you had the night before are still the same here. Treat him with respect, look him in the eye, don't lie, don't talk back, and you should still be fine.
So as he invites us into the room, I kindly hold the others back in order for me to step forward and go first.
I love it. When you enter,
by all means.
When you enter, you see Maurice, and he is very, very like beat up, damaged. You see like clear signs of just like stab wounds all over his body, and his clothes are ripped to shreds. He's in the process of like healing his wounds. You can see some of them, like some of the wounds are still like are wet with blood, but like the wound itself is closed up. So you can tell that like he was just he's kind of like coming back after licking his wounds, so to speak. And as you enter, the prince like looks at all of you, turns away and kind of puts both hands on his desk, his head's hanging low, and he's like, finally, people I can actually depend on have entered into my quarters.
I totally ignore the other guy, the wounded one, and I go like, our sincere apologies for interrupting, my lord.
Oh, you are not interrupting anything. He gives like Maurice a nod, and he was like, leave. More capable kindred have entered. I will make sure that they see it through what you are not able to. And like he just kind of like bows his head and looks like gives you all like a really like seething look, especially you, Rebecca, as he like goes to leave. You can feel like daggers being stared into like into your
like
throat. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. As he looks, he's passing by all of you. He kind of looks Ellie and Darius up and down, and he whispers very, very softly, "Good luck." The prince going back. I apologize for you having to hear that. I like to keep myself a little bit more composed, but some pressing developments have come to light.
There is nothing to apologize for, my lord.
He kind of does like a little twirl of his hair. And he's like, I believe you have someone, you brought someone to meet me?
Yes, my lord. And I nod towards the others.
And I kind of like to Darius, Go ahead, step forward.
Darius steps forward and he goes and just kind of gives a deep bow and actually goes to get down on one knee, and he's like, Your Grace, it is a pleasure to meet you. I'm Darius. Thank you for seeing me. And the prince kind of chuckles to himself. It seems you have some education in our ways. Forgive me, young Darius, but I do not have time for you right now. If you would wait in the main room, I will see to you shortly. And he just kind of has this look on his eyes wait, what the hell? I was specifically told to come here tonight.
And I'm gonna give him a look just go.
Yeah. He kind of gets back up. He's like, yes, your Highness, Your Majesty. You can tell he's super, has no idea what to do in the situation. And he goes he walks quite fast and closes the door behind him. The prince kind of chuckles. He's like, which one of you told him to address me in such a way?
This is the proper way to address you, my lord.
You taught him well then. Sadly, it is not something that I have the time to deal with at the moment. I know that I have talked to you about the recent uprising in the numbers of kindred in the night here in Houston. It seems that Maurice had an altercation with them this evening. You can tell
More
this is
fledglings.
Indeed. I believe they are planning to make their move sooner than I had anticipated. To brazenly attack someone such as Maurice in the middle of the, in what was essentially dusk. I cannot imagine.
So you mean that in the middle of the city, in the middle of a Camarilla territory, someone has managed to practically organize an army of inexperienced and new, but still an army.
Yes.
Kindred.
Yes. Maurice tells me
And without thinking, I'm literally doing that and start taking notes.
Yes. Maurice tells me that he was attacked by three kindred. One dressed in black. One who had the tongue, who shared our mother tongue. And two more who didn't seem to know what they were doing or what they signed up for, but they were just doing as they were told.
If I may, Your Grace, the Hispanic man with the black outfit and the black hat, this is the one who has created the issues. If your follower was able to identify this man, we do have our main, not suspect, the guilty person.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So it seems that you had, in one night, you were already able to figure out what had eluded me for some time.
We had gotten
expected anything less?
We'd gotten a description of the perpetrator, my lord. But we beyond that, we don't know anything else about him, except for the fact that he's making these fledglings.
We do know, actually, that man was able to slash through mortals with his bare hands, like knives, deep cuts, wounds.
Very similar to how Maurice was attacked then. The claws of a gangrel, and he kind of looks you up and down, Jace. I'm sure you know how much power they can do even to their own, how much damage they can do even to our own kind.
Mm-hmm.
He was attacked on Mikini. It seems that there was, that they were brazen enough to do so. As soon as the sun had set, it just seemed as that they are on a mission now. He says that they are making their way through through the city heading towards the university. It's the direction they were leaving when Maurice was attacked.
Why the university? It doesn't make sense. If they want to take over the city, they would be coming here by now.
Your guess is as good as mine. I do not know why these wild animals behave in such a manner. I believe this is what I tasked you to find out. And he kind of looks at you, Rebecca, and he's like, and trust me, your accomplishments have not gone unnoticed.
Thank you, Your Grace.
Now, I know I asked you to bring young Darius to me. And you've told me as such that you... He looks at you, Jace. After your display last night of loyalty, I know you are prepared to do the job. So if you brought him to me instead of dispatching of him then and there on the streets, perhaps he is of some use. You will leave him with me. I will speak to him alone. You will all go to the university at once.
Absolutely, my lords. Do we have any insight from your follower on what to expect?
Maurice says that he was attacked by three kindred, all male. Two of them were Two of them shared our mother tongue. They were speaking Espanol. And the other was, and he kind of looks over at you. Eleanor. The other had darker skin.
As you wish, Your Grace. I would only say that if Darius is to your if you're willing to give your approval to Darius's position here in the Camarilla, I am more than happy to take on responsibility for the fledgling. He can ride a horse. Cisco took to him well enough, and I believe he's got good connections that would serve the Ivory Tower further to uphold the Masquerade and get resources for us away from the watchful eyes of the mortals.
Your words are not. What's the right way to say this? Gah, I wish I had figured it out before I started talking. Your words are appreciated, and the way you speak in defense of him and speak so highly of him, I'm sure we can find a use for him here in the Camarilla. But that is something I will decide. I believe I told you all to head towards the university. You have made good progress in just one night. Based on how well you did last night, I'm hoping we can put an end to this tonight.
Yes, sir.
It would be an honor, Your Grace.
He's like, and then he goes to the he's like, Eleanor, I want you to stay behind. I have to speak with you.
Oh, okay, my lord.
And he kind of shoos the rest both of you out of there.
Okay. Shit.
I'm going to transition us now to my side-by-side screen with Eleanor. 1 second.
Handy dandy side by side.
Eleanor. He goes to close the door behind, and he goes to lock it as well.
Oh. Okay, Eleanor tries to hide her discomfort.
I believe the last time we spoke, you said that you had a request of me, or you wanted me to consider your request.
Yes, sir.
Why do you want this young man to join us? What could he possibly bring to the table?
Well, sir, you've been to the bar many times, and I know you know it's no secret that he's well aware of the company I keep, well aware of who I am, and to some degree what goes on in the upper rooms. And in all this time, he has protected our secret. He if I'm to be completely honest, I love him and he loves me, but I think who he is as a person can definitely bring value to us as a people.
You are still so young, my dear Eleanor. You speak of love, and I must say it is a concept I am not familiar with anymore. I have close attachments, but with each passing year, this is more and more of a memory and less of a reality. You say that you love him and you say that he keeps our secrets. Yes, that is fine, that is all well and good. But I do not know why you would ask me of such a thing, especially now in these times. We are hunting down young fledglings. This one seems to be trustworthy. He seems to be he seems to be capable. He seems to know how to deal with our kind. But I don't know. I trust you. This young man I do not trust. It will take some time for me to gain. It will take some time for me to come to know this young man and trust this man. But as I said before, you do this for me and I will greatly consider this request. I will make a proposal with you. Do what you need to do to end this menace tonight. Bring me their heads, and I will see that their place in the Camarilla are replaced with your young Sebastian.
Thank you, sir. You won't regret this.
I will not, and you will not fail me.
I understand.
Are you prepared? This one of them was of your kind. I'm not blind. Darius was also of the African descent. What if I were to kill him and remove his head from his shoulders? You would still be loyal to the prince?
Yeah, yes, sir. I would.
Very well.
I'm sure you had to make that difficult decision with your own as well.
Oh, as I said, with each passing year, it is less and less difficult. Now I do not see those I love, those I can depend on, rely on, and those who have a use. If young Darius proves useful and can hold himself and impress me without the words of the rest of you backing him up, he will absolutely find a place here in Houston. His ties to Louisiana are quite useful, so he already has that working in his favor. But just know, it is always a possibility. And like I said, you need to be willing to go this far as well, if it comes to that.
I will, sir.
He goes to unlock the door. He's like, very well, make haste. Do what I had commanded, and you will get your reward.
Thank you again.
So yeah, he ushers you out, and you join the rest of the coterie. And we are back on with everyone.
What happened?
We have finished this mission. He wants it done tonight.
Okay, I know this look. What did he say exactly?
it doesn't matter. Whatever. We just have to get this done tonight. We have to get rid of this problem for the prince, sir. I mean,
Did he
yeah.
threaten you?
Let's go. Time is of the essence. We need to go. Far as Darius goes, is Darius by us?
No, you guys are still kind of like far enough away from him so that he can't hear what you're talking about. Unless you're like yelling.
Okay. He's gonna give him a chance as of now. He appreciates those Louisiana ties, but you know, Princess, they can. That's his decision right now, to say the least.
May I roll an insight check on her?
Yeah.
Intelligence insight.
Let's have you go with maybe. Yeah, you know what? Let's have you. You're more intelligence. Let's have you do with intelligence. I see you more as like reading facial expressions as like opposed to like trying to relate to somebody. That's how I see Rebecca.
3 successes.
3?
Yeah.
You can tell that she is not flustered. Isn't the right word. She's not speaking out of, and hopefully I'm not speaking for you, Ray. But I think what you're seeing is less of fear and more like excited nervousness. Is that like a fair assessment?
I'd say a combination of both.
Okay. So like a weird thing. I don't think she's so much fearful. It doesn't seem that she's very fearful. More so that she's quite motivated, and it seems that like she's just very, very motivated at this point to get that.
In that case,
accomplish the mission.
Rebecca only nods.
All right. I'll stop over at Darius and like kind of like clap him on the shoulder and be like, "All right, good luck with him. He's a bit more temperamental than I would expect for someone of his position. So it's best you just roll with the punches as best you can, okay?"
Wait. I'm going in alone. You said that you would all speak up for me.
We did.
Yeah, but this is the way he wants it. Plus, we got. I'm sorry to say, Darius, we got bigger fish to fry tonight. I'll tell you what, the reason he's so worked up is that there seems to be other kindred out there in the city doing exactly what he did to you, the man in the black hat, raising some sort of army, who knows what. You're lucky that we got to you in time before he did. Otherwise, you might just be cannon fodder for whatever kind of cause he's got going.
He kind of like looks like into like the middle distance, and he's just like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die.
Not tonight, my friend. But one day, we all will. Best to hold that close to you. Keep that in mind.
He has this weird look in his eyes as he looks at you. And you can tell that it's like it's a respect, but it's not a respect that he expected to give you. It's kind of surprising him as well. Like almost like he doesn't want to give you the respect, but after what you're saying and all of you have done for him, it's a begrudging respect. You can kind of tell that behind his clearly fearful eyes. Well, like I said, I'm if this is what I can do to help you, then so be it. I said I would. He like walks over, like he stands up and he kind of like straightens out his suit and like does like the Picard maneuver where he like pulls his shirt down and like front and back. And he goes over to Ellie, says, "How do I look?"
Mighty fine. You're gonna do great. And then she like kind of puts a hand on his shoulder, like very, very gently, and then removes it.
Just remember, be kind, be so that you can be loyal to him and compliment him and act like you depend on him. Well, you do depend on him, but show it. Make him feel important. He belongs to the clan of the kings. This is not by accident. Treat him like a king.
Will
And
do.
he's going to allow you to survive.
Will do. All right.
Anything else that you would like to ask before you go in there?
At this point, the less I know, the better, honestly. And
Well, you do know nothing yet.
We'll see where that gets me. He like turns around.
Good luck.
He like walks in, and as he makes his way towards the door, you can just hear like the prince like just say, "The prince will see you now, young Thaddeus," and it's kind of like a Godfather moment where like you kind of look like through the doorway as like the prince goes to close the door behind him. And there the three of you are left to your own devices.
So Maurice was attacked this like earlier tonight.
Yeah. Like pretty much as he woke up.
All right. Shit. We gotta hurry then. This black-hatted feller can't have gotten far in the last hour? I'm sure they're not taking no cars nowhere.
We do know where they're heading.
Yeah, they were making their way towards the university.
So we can always try to catch them there. We should be prepared for a battle. Again. We'll see. I would like it if I could grab a couple of knives in case we're going on a mini war.
Yeah. There are certain like bladed weapons in this area. Like I said, some stuff has already been moved from the night before. So instead of just having like two shields like over a sword that were there last night, you now see a few more like knives kind of strewn across.
Stealing from the prince, thank you.
Well, they're there. I mean, you can always get some as well along the way. You can see that they like from where, so like I said, this is just like a kind of clear one room tunnel, and as you walk back, like as you can see, like at the top of it, the door is kind of left open, so as if somebody just like walked outside.
Maurice.
What do you do?
We're in a supply closet. Is there like a broom or a mop?
Yeah, I mean, like, so, like, in the courthouse, there is, like, a very, like, Spartan kitchen, but they do need to keep it clean. So, yeah, you'll be able to find all the cleaning supplies that you would find in the 20s, so a mop, broom.
Anything that I could make just snap in half and make a quick steak out of.
Oh, absolutely. You would probably be able to make a good 4 steaks out of them. You know, snap two things in half.
So I'm just barehanded snapping these things in half.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here, you each take one. I'll hold on to these two. And he puts them into his like belt loops.
Oh, thank you.
Why not?
I'll put it in my purse.
Remember, I can paralyze them for a while, but it is not permanent, and it is not a guarantee. The aim is to take them on separately.
Right, that'd be the best. My hope is if we can take out Mr. Blackhat, well, perhaps, maybe the other two won't be so keen on following him anymore.
But they may still attack. So out of fear.
We gotta be prepared for that.
If he's looking for something in the university, he's going to go into the actual place, and someone will most likely look in case someone approaches them. So in that case, we will have a chance on 1 versus 3. On any other case, we should try and reason with them.
Got
We're
it.
not combat material.
Well, the fastest way I know of getting there is on Cisco. It might take some convincing, but I think he could carry the three of us.
3 of us on a horse?
Like I said, I'll have to ease him into it. It'll be a little tough. So this would be a animalism check. Since I can't quite talk to him yet, it's going to be charisma plus animal ken difficulty 2. And you can increase the difficulty for more complex orders.
I think this is a pretty straightforward order. But I will go, I mean, how many dice are you rolling with?
4.
I think that's fine. Let's have you roll. Let's keep it at 2.
3 of them are hunger dice. It's not good. Not good. I'm thinking if I should try
Rouse the blood for our 4th hunger. Oh,
boost it. I don't know. I can't go too hungry at the moment. Okay, that is that's 3 successes.
Okay. Cisco does not. You can tell that Cisco is not happy about it, but he'll
come on, boy, and I help you both up, and then I don't know, get on in the back or in the front.
Hold on, before you take off, you are approached by Maurice, and
Oh no,
this man is, well, I guess this kindred, smoking a cigarette as he a hand-rolled tobacco as he rolls up. His English is a lot better than his Spanish, but he walks up.
I casually approach. You know that this thing can kill you, right?
It's like, trust me, after tonight, maybe that's what I deserve. I see that I'm losing faith with the prince, and you three might end up becoming his right hand, so to speak.
Hopefully. So, how may we help you?
It's not so much as if you can help me, but maybe I can help you. And he reaches out and he pulls out 2 more stakes. He's like, I was planning to head to the university myself, but after the whatever that was earlier this evening, it's probably best if I stay out of your way. The prince sees
In that case,
you adequate enough to take care of this, and I'll follow through with his orders.
In that case, upon success, we're going to inform the prince that you supported us and that you followed his orders. He is a forgiving man.
Rattling, Maurice, I gotta disagree. If you truly, really want to prove yourself, we'll see you there at the university later tonight.
He kind of perks up at what Rebecca says, and kind of looks at like what you said, Jace. And he's conflicted. Can I have all of you roll with wits and awareness?
It's an awareness. 2 successes.
Okay.
No successes.
only 2.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think you guys. He kind of just like he perks up at what he seems a little bit more excited at the prospect of what Rebecca said versus, and like Jace, when you saying like, oh, I'll see you there, he kind of was turned off by that. I think you like from the 2 of you, Jace and Eleanor, you probably see him as kind of a coward more so than anything. And I think, I mean, with your no successes, Rebecca, you're probably just like, yeah, I mean, the prince told us to take care of it. This guy's just following orders, whatever. But nothing more than that. He just kind of looks you up, all three, where he's like, well, maybe we'll see. Like he kind of looks up at Cisco and he's like, it looks like you're going to be full on that there horse. But if I could find my way there, I'll see what I can do.
Rebecca might see it fit to, in her good graces to put in a good word for you, but and Jace like mimes like spitting on the ground because he doesn't have any actual stuff to spit. I'm not going to be going and putting my reputation on the line for someone as cowardly as yourself. If you want to prove yourself a real man and a real warrior of the Ivory Tower, we'll see you there. And I'd like to roll intimidation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Manipulation.
Please.
Two successes.
He's not even gonna. I mean, yeah, he's a little like his eyes are kind of like eyes wide open. It's as if you just like slapped him in the face. You can tell like he has that same kind of look, and he's like, "I understand." All right then. If outsiders like yourselves, and he looks at you and Rebecca, Jace. If outsiders like yourselves can do something for the prince, maybe I can too.
I do have to insist that you have your orders, even though it would be good to have you with us.
What, did the prince tell him to stay away from the university?
Well, did he tell you to stay away from the university?
He told me to leave. He didn't tell me to do anything. He's now speaking with I gave him an accent, even though you're not supposed to have one. He is now speaking with that fledgling that you brought. I'm not going to interrupt that.
In that case, you could prove yourself to the prince and be of help to us.
All right.
I'm not going to waste any more time on someone who is whining that he's no longer the prince's favorite.
Let's go.
Do you like slap Cisco to like tell him to go?
Yeah, at that point, because I imagine I was still standing and the two ladies were up. And so then I kind of like jump on. I'm probably in the front so that I can steer him properly.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet like you two are kind of like situated side saddle on the back, like back to back, with like holding on to the packs that he's got over there. And yeah, as soon as I say that, I pull myself up into the seat and just take off.
As if to like add insult to injury, like there's a little bit of like dust that's kicked up and it kind of just flies in Maurice's direction. Cisco's kind of on the same
whips
page.
Him in the face with his tail.
Yes. And like Maurice is left there with nothing to pick up but his dignity and his jaw from the ground.
Wow.
As you all make your way towards the University of Houston. It is a fairly interesting ride. People are kind of are still out and about. It's still, at this point, maybe only 9:30 at night. So people are still out and about, like both from work, maybe trying to find a speakeasy, going out on dates, whatnot.
It's Friday night.
Yeah, it's Friday night. It's Friday night in Houston, baby. It's a happening time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like people like seeing three people on a horse is very much like a shock to them. They're kind of just like, as you, like, you know, if there's like a little break where you have to like wait for cars to move or whatnot, like people, you can clearly see that people are like, what the fuck is this? Like, why are there three of them on a horse? Get a carriage or something. But the stairs aside, you all make Houstonians, am I right? It's about.
They don't have no respect for proper Western culture.
Now, I don't know if anybody has been to the university before besides Rebecca. It may have been Eleanor, but Jace, I don't think you would have ever been out this way.
Probably not.
The university is very much in the process of still being constructed. There are a few. It's open to the public for like study and research and like a few classes. Like, but a few professors here, but it's nothing more right now than just like one singular building with a bunch of area, like like not necessarily paved, but like enough area like cordoned off for like construction. And it takes you about like 20 minutes to get there on horse, I would say, maybe 20, 30 minutes, especially if you're heading straight there. Mm-hmm. Upon arrival, though, I mean, it's Friday night. People are out in downtown. You can see that the young, the wealthy, like the white population is definitely out in here in the city. But as you make your way, out towards the city and more towards like where the university is, you're starting to see the population take a swift, a different turn. You're starting to see like this. There's no money in this part of town just yet. So it's becoming more and more diverse the farther you get away from the city, to the point where you can see that most of the people out here that are doing construction in other parts of the city are indeed Hispanic or young black laborers.
Well, we'd be riding through the Third Ward, which is historically a black neighborhood.
Right. I think at this point in time, there's a lot of like Hispanics living out there as well. Just trying to find whatever work they can. And this is definitely something that you all take notice of as you're riding through the city, or as you're making your way through Third Ward. But as you make your way to the university, you start to see that there are a few people leaving the construction site, and that there are a few more that are actually like making their way towards the construction site. And they kind of like, one person like in general like kind of waves down like all three of you on Cisco, like telling you to stop.
Whoa.
And his English is very, 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 he's got a very thick accent, so to speak. He's like, what are you doing? Where are you going?
Jace kind of like looks back at Rebecca and is like, "Hey, would you mind?"
Apologies. We are here to see Mr. Oberholzer. It's late, I know, but he kind of expects us. I mentioned the name of the dean of the university.
Oberholzer, he wouldn't be here on a Friday night. What do you? I don't think he's supposed to be here right now. What are you doing?
None of your business. Unless you want us to find the dean and give you orders himself.
No, okay. Okay, go ahead.
We'll not mess with anything. Don't worry.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to get on anyone's bad side. He's kind of just waves you through. And you can see, as you walk through, there are people that are leaving the day shift and are coming for the night shift because they're trying to get this university built pretty quickly.
The others can hear me cursing as we walk slowly.
Are you all still on Cisco as you trot through this construction area?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. At this point, it's you don't even have to have supernatural senses to be well, what the fuck are these people doing here, man? This is this isn't sightseeing. This is the night shift. We need to get this ready. They're not even wearing hard hats. What the hell?
Are they close enough to notice the fact that we're supernatural?
I don't think anybody is looking you up and down too hard. These are all young Hispanic and black laborers, and so they've been kind of taught from birth to really not mess with you, really not say anything to you unless something bad happens to them. So they're not gonna say anything to your face, but you can you feel through their stares, oh, what the fuck are these people doing here, man?
In that case, I'm going to roll a rouse check to look human.
Okay.
And hunger increases.
Ooh. With 3 hunger, well, 3 hunger for Jace and 2 for Rebecca. What are you sitting at right now, Eleanor?
I'm pretty good. I am at
1.
Chotomate. ¿Dónde está mi hunger? Oh. Wait, we didn't put anything in there.
You should be at 1 then.
Oh, okay.
You've got such a ready supply back at the speakeasy.
Yeah.
Plus, I think when we did our hunger checks last night or the last session, you were successful.
Yes.
But yeah, just 1 stray nail or 1 little injury on this construction site, and blood's gonna smell pretty good to the rest of you.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness.
Sadly, I mean,
Let's hurry up.
Thankfully, there's a big old sign that says no injuries for the past 25 days.
Cool.
Like that. But yeah, so as you make your way through the construction site, to the actual campus proper, you see that there are a few lights on in the university still. Maybe some professors are burning the midnight oil. But curiously enough, the door has kind of just been left open.
That's not good. I'll get off Cisco and help the 2 ladies off as well.
I head off.
We need to be extra careful from now on.
Should we all blush of laugh just in case we run into any mortals?
Probably not a
this is
bad
up to you.
idea.
Ugh, I don't want to.
Okay, so I've never rolled blush.
It's a rouse check. Okay.
It's a failure.
4 hunger?
4 hunger.
You are rolling for hunger frenzy every time you see or smell blood from now on.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, Mark, please walk me through a rouse check.
Yeah, so you just roll a hunger dice, and if you succeed, then you look human and nothing negative happens. If you fail, you still look human, but you get hungrier.
Your hunger increases.
Yeah.
I think I might have to take a little blood off of Cisco.
Nobody carries?
He's not going to be able to carry us home if you do that.
I'm mighty hungry. I don't know how much I can control it otherwise.
No, Chase is a vegan. No.
I think, are we close? Are we close to Emancipation Park?
Oh God.
It's in 3rd Ward, and it existed in the 20s.
You would have to go away from the university for a bit, but
Okay.
We don't have time.
yeah, I don't think you have time to do so.
Is anyone carrying?
What?
Holding? No extra bag.
Would it be
blood?
reasonable to say that I would be holding?
I think if anyone would be holding, it would be Rebecca, because she actually bought blood bags the night before.
Recently.
But I don't
Right.
think that you would. Do you have them on you?
I drank them.
There you go. So no.
Well, let's hope that nothing bad happens.
Oh.
So yeah, if I end up feeding from a mortal, that's a stain.
How long have you been vegan?
A while, several years probably.
Gotta keep. My arm keeps disappearing.
So you probably really
Just
get
get some
sick if
brains.
you fed human.
Would you get sick, or I mean, hunger would go down?
No, but it would be a very strange alien experience that no kindred would ever like to experience. I mean, the same goes for me and blood bags. I wouldn't be able to drink from a human, not technically, emotionally.
Right. I mean,
Right.
you could
So it
physically,
would-
but it would be really bad.
So it would be a
I wouldn't
stain.
know how to do it, most of all.
Yeah.
how to approach, how to treat the wound, how to hunt. She would not have this experience because she never had to learn how to do it. It's difficult. It's different if you frenzy. If you frenzy, you can eat technically anything with no guilt because you are not yourself. You are the beast.
But the guilt comes after.
Well, if you may even lose humanity. Depends on what you do.
Exactly.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank Chris for all those rouse checks throughout the campaign. This has been fantastic. But yeah, so to get back to it, the door to the university is left wide open. And they don't have like little hydraulic, like automatic closing doors.
I turn on all specs.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, boom, everything, colors are brighter, smells are intensified, sounds, everything, like even your touch, you can feel the air and like the humidity in the air, like kind of like, you know, like against your skin, or if you still had, anyways, you can hear. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop. What are you doing? What are you? Oh my God, what is this? It's the sound of like a young woman. And you just like hear it like in this voice, like, shh, 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 shh. It will all make sense soon, young one.
Y'all, I think one of our culprits in there, and I think they have a human victim. I mean, sounds like I could just hear someone pleading for help.
Any Hispanic accents on site?
I think I hear a hit of an accent. And I don't think he's just gonna feed. He's probably gonna turn him because he said something about it'll make sense in the end.
Okay.
We better go.
We can surprise him.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay.
You still have specs turned on. So you hear like after like shh, it all makes sense soon. You also hear like, what are we waiting for? Let's get this over with. We came here to do what we need to do. You will listen to me, and you will wait. Do not forget who made you what you are. All right. And then like you hear like you hear like as you like Ocean, like you hear like the footsteps of a third, but no, like they're not talking as much.
Just to be sure, everyone's hearing this, not just me.
No, you are hearing this because your auspex are flared up.
But no one else hears it?
No one hears it.
Okay. There's definitely three people, three kindred in that room. Let's go.
We can not take on 3 different kindred.
Well, do we wait until they turn them? Because I think that's what's about to happen.
In that case, I'll try to stab and paralyze the man in charge and try to reason with the rest. If you could immobilize them, or try at least.
I mean, maybe we can find another way around instead of marching straight through.
What are they? Are they upstairs?
They're like they're just like deeper into the building. They're still on the first floor. There's like the upstairs is still very like very freshly constructed.
What if Cisco and I go in and run down the hallway, distract them, and then have at least one of them, maybe 2, run off after us. If I can pull them away, that'll leave you 2 to deal with the headmaster.
I'll do my best.
We can try, but we cannot let the human escape.
Agreed.
She's
Luckily,
going to preach the masquerade extremely badly if we do.
Luckily, I look human, so if anything, I'll look like some young, drunk, a redneck causing a ruckus here on campus.
Okay.
All right. So he hops on Cisco and has him go into the building through the door. And I'll start charging down the hallway, going like yeehaw, and pull out my lasso. See if I can't lasso one of them and drag them behind me.
Okay.
Assuming there's an exit on the other side, maybe, or a large window we can crash through. I don't know.
I think so with this, if you're just kind of the door is kind of left open and there's just enough space for you and Cisco to kind of fit in. You're gonna have to kind of stay low, but. You're a very much accomplished rider, and Cisco being, your familiar, so to speak. Yeah, this is not very difficult for you to handle at all. It's a little uncomfortable. You can't stand up. You would have to. Do you have rope? And you're gonna say you're gonna try to lasso him? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
As you break through into the hallway, you can Eleanor. You hear what the fuck is all that noise going on out there? And you see a door opened up at the end of the hallway, and someone peeks out, you're quickly approaching them, Jace. Really quick, have you roll a wits and awareness before anything else goes down?
Okay. 1 success.
You've been around Kindred for quite some time. This guy looks human.
You could just be doing what we're doing.
Yeah. It's what the fuck? Who brought a horse in here?
Ha ha! He's trying to act now. Yeehaw, you friggin' nerds! Try and catch me if you can.
Damn, college kids. Oh well. More for the rest of us. And you see his eyes turn a dark crimson glow.
His head's pointing out, so I think I'm just gonna straight up try and lasso around his neck and pull him out.
Sounds good to me. Let's have you roll with. Sorry, let's have you. I'm guessing this wouldn't be a melee attack, would it?
No.
Let's have you roll with Dex and Brawl. I don't know. That seems weird. Let me see here.
Athletics.
Yeah.
Survival. Animal Ken.
I think Animal Ken is probably. I'm gonna do Animal Ken for this. How many cowboys were they thinking of when they thought of Vampire 5e?
None.
Probably we have no dice for that.
I'm gonna use a willpower. Reroll my 1 non-hunger die.
Oh no.
That was a good choice. 3 successes.
3 successes. Sorry, I was a fool and forgot to set my dice aside.
Fool, you fool!
Apologies. Fool of a took. It's the wrong setting. All right, here we go. This is a good amount. Said 3 successes. Ooh, that beats my 2. Yeah, so it's
as soon as it gets around his head, it just tightens, and on a mortal, this would be a terrible injury. But with his red eyes, I'm assuming he's no mortal.
No, and you can kind of hear him choking through the lasso. Buy a guy dinner first, as he's now being dragged through the halls of the school.
Behind Cisco.
Behind Cisco. At this point, I think with your auspex still flared up, Eleanor, you see 2 more creatures poke out their head. You see what appears to be a Hispanic man dressed in all black, and a young black man following in pursuit. The man dressed in black kind of looks down the halls and meets eyes with you, and you can hear him clear as day, as if you were like standing right in front of him because of your auspex. Take care of them. And you hear like, help, help, help! Oh my God, help me! I don't know what's happening. As this young man starts advancing towards Rebecca and Eleanor.
Do we have a round before we roll initiatives?
I think this is probably as good a time as any to enter into the initiative. So let's do this. Initiative is not necessarily rolled. I think that's what we discussed, is that everyone just has an initiative rating. And so the way that this is going to work is I'm going to have all of you go first, and then I'm going to have all of my people follow afterwards. It kind of got the jump on them. That's how my Pathfinder Starfinder brain is working. So cool. Eleanor, the initiative goes to you. You see this young man starting to walk down the hallway towards you. What do you do?
So with fleetness, that's something I have to use in defense, right?
Double checking.
Well, this is something you use if you are attacked.
It's more so, I guess you said you could use it in attack.
If you activate this, what you can practically do is be extremely fast. It helps you if you take cover. If someone is shooting at you or tries to hit you in any way, but technically you can activate it now and it is going to be active till the end of the scene.
Okay, I'm not going to activate it just yet.
Okay.
Ooh, I have nothing for combat. So I'm going to take out my stake. But he's not close enough to me yet, right?
No. He's he's at the end of this hallway.
Okay. I'm thinking like D&D, like equipping myself with the stake.
Okay, so you're just gonna wait for him to advance more so than anything? Okay. Yes. Sounds good to me. All right. Then that brings us to Rebecca. You see this Eleanor has brandished a stake. What do you do?
Is this the man the one with the black clothes that we suspect that he created the kindred?
Well, the man in black is behind him. This young black man is now advancing towards you, but he's not the man dressed in black.
Okay, I'm going to go for Scorpion stats, Blood Sorcery 3. So what I'm doing is I'm poking myself with a stake. I'm going to roll a rouse check, and my hunger increases.
Yes.
And then it's time for the rolls. Let me remind you, this is a contested roll.
Right.
So I do have to roll. Do you remember yours?
I'm rolling them now.
Fortitude.
It was fortitude. If I had it. Stamina, right. So he does not have fortitude.
Stamina and occult or stamina and fortitude?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so he's just rolling with straight up stamina. He got 1 success.
Okay, let's see. So, strength and... 2 successes.
Yeah, well, that beats my 1, so yeah. You kind of meet him in the hall.
So the guy is technically staked as well.
You could tell that he was his fingers were in the process of transforming, but he didn't get a chance to complete it.
Nice.
So I think this is torpor, if I'm not mistaken, right? Essentially.
Technically, yes.
Okay.
Until they remove the stake.
Yeah, well, he can't...
So he's in a condition that can understand what's happening in the surroundings, but he's, in torpor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was, walking towards you, and, before he had a chance to, really defend, you kind of staked him. I guess he would just, fall over. And fall backwards at this point. That brings us to Jace. You are now, dragging this person behind Cisco.
How much more hallway do I have?
Not very much. Like it's coming to a head here, all right. really soon.
So at the end, I'm gonna turn. I'm gonna have Cisco come to a quick halt, rear up, turn, and trample the vampire I've got on the lasso.
Oh no! And it's +2 because he's prone.
I pulled up the horse stats. So V5 did have horses in mind, by the way, because they have stats for horse.
Oh my god! All right.
So I'll be rolling 6 dice with this. It's a physical.
I mean, he can't really.
And I don't know if
he can't really do much to avoid it. Like he's like on the ground, prone, like wrapped up, tied up.
Right. 4 successes.
4 successes. Good God. So I think that's what, 6 damage? So 3 superficial, something like that?
Yep.
Okay, so 3 superficial damage. Like you hear one of his the bones just crack, like as you kind of trample over him with the horse.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really yelp. He's just like, ah, the fuck was that?
And I'm gonna try and keep the rope in my hands as taut as possible.
Okay.
To stop him from being able to get up and get away.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely proficient enough with it. I'm gonna have you still roll with the animal kin and dex for this real quick.
Okay.
Since this is something he's wasn't tied up all the way. He was just around his neck. He's gonna try to be a little slippery guy. But oh, good God, that was successful. Ooh, he got 5 successes.
That's 3 successes.
Okay, so with his claws completely grown at this point, he's able to kind of clip the rope off his neck.
Damn it.
But you definitely cracked a few of his ribs, if not an arm or something.
Mm-hmm.
Their turn. So this young man that was making his way towards Rebecca and Eleanor, he's just kind of laying on the ground now, eyes kind of wide open, still aware of what's going on, but he can't really do anything. You, the guy that just clapped his heads out, the guy who just freed himself, jumps onto you, and he goes in to try to stab at you with his claws.
Who does he jump on?
Onto you. Sorry. The guy that you just the Jace. He's jumping onto you.
Okay.
He's gonna try to bring you to the ground. He's gonna roll with strength and brawl. This is his hand claws. He got 3 successes.
What do I roll with?
So are you trying to dodge? Or are you trying to overpower him?
He's trying to pull me off, right?
Oh, well, he's leaping forward to try to pounce on you and bring you to the ground.
Yeah, he's trying to pull me off of the horse.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I forgot that you're still on Cisco. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to just punch him back so that he won't pull me off.
Cool. Let's have you roll strength and brawl then.
One success.
Yeah, so he gets in on you and is able to do... I'm sorry, the claws give you what, +2 damage, or...?
I don't have any claws.
I'm sorry, but the gangrel claws...
Oh, yeah, +2 damage.
So that does... let's see here. So you got a 1, he got 3 successes. So it's a grand total of 3 superficial damage, but I guess it would only be 1.
Yep.
So... Yeah, as you are knocked off of the ground... and then from the room... where they both emerged from, you see this man dressed in black. He's a little bit shorter stature. He's appears out of the room holding this woman by the neck and lifting her up in the air, just barely enough to hold her above off of her feet. She's you see her grasping for air, and he says, "Enough!" and the guy that was on you kind of like retracts his claws. And he's like, "All right, whatever you say." Seems ashamed to doing so. Seems ashamed to doing someone so cute. As he looks at you, Jace. And he's like, "You, what are you three doing here?"
We're here to put a stop to whatever the hell it is you're doing.
You seem to be making a mess all over town.
I'm going to take us out of combat for the time being. Because he's like, "I only wish to talk with you. And please, if anyone needs anything," and he grows a claw from his finger and makes a deep incision onto the young woman's arm, and blood is starting to trickle from her arm.
And this is when we roll for hunger frenzy.
Exactly.
Side of an open wound. Difficulty 2. Well, this is difficulty 2 only when you're at hunger 4 or higher, which was me.
That's difficulty 2 for you. And I guess, would you still? I mean, you're at hunger 3 now, if I'm not mistaken, Rebecca.
Yes.
So I don't know how difficult this would be for you. I guess just one success probably would be enough to.
So we're gonna roll willpower. Our current willpower plus humanity plus a third of our humanity score. So I've currently got 4 willpower.
Oh.
And 8 humanity. A third of that is 2.
Okay.
So I'm rolling 6 dice.
Good God. That's enough to overpower.
Yeah.
He'll stay vegan. Bestial failure.
3 successes.
Oh, okay.
I roll with 8 dice and I got 2 successes.
Oh, wow.
God.
Okay, so just...
Actually, I got 1. But not in hunger dice, so...
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're fine. You weren't at the same level of hunger, so... Jace, it is very, very enticing. It is very enticing at this point. But you're kind of like pinned right now. Not necessarily with blades. You're able to kind of keep your cool for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
The young man that is like in torpor in the hallway just sits there. Now this is not he is not staked. This is a scorpion's touch, correct? So how long does this?
Technically both, because I staked him.
You did stake him. Sorry. I do remember.
I used the stake and scorpion stats at the same time.
All right. So as soon as his scorpion touch wears off, he's like
Have you seen mussels when you put lemon on them? When they do that, yeah, this is it.
Why? We do not need to be enemies. He goes to lick off the wound from the young woman's arm, and she's at this point starting to lose consciousness.
I'm reaching for my knife inside my bag without making any sudden moves. I'm trying to keep it discreet.
Okay. Can I have you roll with a stealth, like a dex and stealth? Or would this be a sleight of hand?
Yes. One success.
Okay. I'm gonna hold on to that for the time being. He goes to lick off the blood that he just let, but again, she's starting to pass out. This woman is a young she's a young Hispanic woman. He has a type.
What do you want?
I want nothing more than to right the injustices of this world. He looks at you, a woman. I've seen you around the university, if I'm not mistaken. Forgive me, I do not know your name.
Please, introduce yourself, and I will do the same.
Where are my manners? My name is Javier. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
I would like to say that the pleasure is mine, but not really.
Very well.
So, what injustices are you talking about?
The injustice is, first of all, the injustices we were born with in our first life. Why are we having to be treated as second-class citizens for the way we look, the way we are born? This young man on the floor that you so desired to stake him, just because he is of a darker skin color, he must suffer all the injustices and hatred of humanity. The man over there straddling you, cowboy, forced out of his home simply because of who he chose to love. This young woman here, a double offense, so to speak, a woman, and she is of Hispanic descent like myself. Cursed to never be taken seriously. Cursed to live on the handouts of being granted a position here at the university. He looks over at you, Eleanor. I know you. You run that flower place in the warehouse industry, no?
Midnight Rose? Yes, that's me.
Forgive me. I did not mean to offend. I just don't understand why you would pledge loyalty to people who would continue to look down on others. Not just in the first life, but in the second life as well.
Now, I hear what you're saying, but it seems to me you're going about this the wrong way. So far, you've created nothing but trouble for any kindred that look like me, that look like you.
Well, we cannot hope to create something new unless we destroy what was once before.
Funny thing to say. Fun. So you're going to take down the system and then be just like them. Or maybe worse.
Oh,
Trust
no.
me. Many people tried. Many people tried to sell this story. It never works out in the end.
It is still early enough in this existence of this city. There are
Surrender
only
yourself.
a handful of kindred, I hate that term, who live here in the city. If we were to join our resources, create a few more, perhaps we could shift the balance of power in our direction.
Or you could surrender yourself and hope to live to see another night. You are not watching.
Did you even meet with the prince? I mean, I don't think he's the power structure you mean to go after.
If you've met one prince, you've met them all. I don't think he would appreciate what I am either.
If you meet a Hispanic man, you meet them all. If you meet a woman, you meet them all. That's what you're saying.
I could see that there is some irony to what you are saying.
Oh, really?
Madam.
Oh, really?
I was cursed the moment I was born, and cursed the moment I died, for simply
and now
being
you're a
too
killer
young.
As well.
I'm giving her the opportunity to rise above and to gain power, to shift it in her favor.
You turned yourself into a murderer. You are no better than they are, you are worse. Because you are doing no justice. They are going through no judgment. You are just killing mortals for your own happiness. You are cursing them into the blood for your own sake, for your own selfish motives. And you never ask the people that are losing their lives, mortal or immortal, what they need. And then you blame the prince? Seriously now.
I see we have somebody here who has been sniffing up the pants of the prince and princess for far too long.
While this is going on, I'm thinking about the stakes that I have in my like belt, and the guy that's straddling me. And so I was looking at the rules. It's incredibly hard to do a combat staking, almost pretty much impossible. So instead, I like move my hands. Try to move my hands down, like, and instead of going to my belt, I like touch the top of his thighs, and begin like flirting with him, like looking at him, like waggling my eyebrows, like pursing my lips, winking, in an attempt to like subterfuge, get him to like come closer so that I can like maneuver, and stake him out of surprise.
Okay. So you're gonna like start winking and kind of like raising his eyebrows. He kind of looks
like,
back down at you.
And like moving my hips provocatively underneath him.
He kind of looks back down at you. He's like, oh, okay, well, we, what's going on here?
Like, and like my fingers just like rubbing across his thighs, like, come here, come closer.
Oh, there'll be plenty of time to get close after this. Javier's done right by me. Are you?
Surprise, surprise, pretty boy.
He looks a little bit flustered. Well, in the middle of and all the universities and all the world with all of the creatures of the night, we had to meet here in Houston. Why do the pretty ones always have to be so dangerous?
You've certainly got my blood pumping.
So go ahead. Are you going to roll with something?
Manipulation and subterfuge. It's not great. It's only 3 dice, but it's what I got.
Also do charisma and something. Technically, charisma and performance as well, because you're flirting with him.
It could be performance.
You're putting on a performance.
But I'm trying to trick him. I'm manipulating.
Okay.
Don't make me roll with worse dice. I only have so few to play with.
Okay. Go ahead and what do you got?
No, nothing.
Okay. Well, he got 2 successes. So
yeah, he probably sees straight through it.
Yeah. So like, I guess he kind of like he sees you like moving his hips, and he kind of like goes and like puts his arms down on you and kind of like tries to hold you down. He's like, oh, there'll be plenty of time for that later.
Damn it.
Hear the man out. You might be interested in what he has to say.
Is the guy still talking to us, or is he like stopped talking?
Yeah. I mean, this is going on during his little speech.
You say that you want to correct things in the world, but so far from what I've seen, you've been just leaving people behind. There was a woman who was just out of her mind. She killed her own grandmother and was tearing her apart. There was nothing that could be done about her. Where were you when she needed you? And then we have another one that we think you created, and you just left him high and dry. He has no clue what he is, no clue how to be. What did you expect to become of him?
I left to.
As he says that, I'm going like clap, clap, clap. But looking at the man being like, nice leader.
Well, I may not be a fan of the Masquerade. I do know that there is wisdom in having to keep things hidden, especially when you are making plans of your own. Having a mindless beast would have only drawn more attention to myself. I could not.
You are the mindless beast.
I could not let that young woman bring down my plans so early in this phase. It's not my fault she couldn't control herself from feeding on whoever she saw.
It's your fault that you brought her into the blood. It's your fault that you killed her to make her a beast. All of this are your fault. People died because of you. Death has fallen upon the city because of you. Not because of the prince or any prince, but because of your selfish dreams and, motives.
And how many people have died in the pursuit of the prince's in the pursuit of the prince's power. In every prince's power, there is an opportunity to do things better. We are at the cusp. We are at the precipice of something great to the city of Houston, and you would continue to just do things as they are.
Lives. You are ruining lives.
It's for the other one.
You're not making noble sacrifices for a purpose. Those people are just dying, alone, scared, in the misery because of your selfish dreams. You're not raising an army full of dreams to pursuit of ruling and taking over the city and becoming I don't know what. You're just killing innocent people. This is the kingdom you feel like ruling? Feel free.
Like I said,
Thank
the
you,
old
I'll pass.
kingdom, the old kingdom must be brought down first. In regards to the other young man, I tried to take care of him. Before I knew it, he had left the apartment that I had put him into. It is not my fault that he saw fit to wander off and get lost. Clearly, he was brought in by. It looks like you were able to find him and educate him into this broken system.
Well, you left a bright red trail for us to find all of your destruction.
I step sideways, walking away from Eleanor. So if he looks at her, he's not looking at me.
I think he's gonna try his best to keep his eyes on you, most definitely, Rebecca, because everyone else, I mean, like, so Jace hasn't really antagonized him, or Eleanor hasn't really antagonized him as much as you have. So
well, if he looks at me, then someone else may go for a surprise attack. If he doesn't look at me, I can go for a surprise attack. So I'm getting my distance.
Gotcha.
As he speaks.
All right, let me try something. Well, if peace and a new order is what you're going for, why don't you let my friend up here so we can listen to you proper? Have a civilized meeting here.
Your friend.
Yeah, this one over here.
Forgive me, I don't think I've seen you around Houston. I have no reason to trust you. Especially after you were doing that hooting and hollering through the halls of the university. Samuel, see fit that he stays there. He's like, oh, I'm definitely not taking my eyes off of this one. You can believe that.
Right. Well, like Eleanor was saying, you want peace? Well, come with us to talk to Prince David, huh? He's amenable to our words.
Do you think that I would be so stupid as to go into the halls of the prince? And in this moment, he turns away from you, Rebecca, and he goes and he's looking at Jace.
I wanna go for a surprise attack.
All right, go for it.
No, I'm not doing a surprise attack. I'm going for blood sorcery too. I'm going to slightly move my hand, and as I do so, I'm going to start making him more hungry. I can roll once per turn.
Okay.
And if it is a critical, he's losing 2 blood points.
Okay.
If I succeed, he loses 1. So you have to roll stamina and composure. This is a contested roll.
Will do.
Come on, critical.
Oh, that's not good. That is not
It's
good.
a critical.
Yeah, he only got 2 successes, so...
I got 5 successes critical, so it goes like 6 successes. He loses 2 blood points, and since he's not looking at me, he cannot know this happened. He just feels the beast awake inside him, but for no apparent reason. If he's looking at me, then we'll have to roll, but he's not.
Yeah, he turned over to Jace. You would think I would be so stupid as to go into the halls of the prince, begging and pleading in a city that has already turned its back on me, and all of the other thin bloods, as they call us. And he goes and he takes a giant bite out of the woman that he's holding.
As he does this, he's when a kindred is feeding, he's technically incapable of reacting to something. So
Okay.
he's going to go there and stab him.
Go for
Take him. Tell me what to roll.
I mean, he can't react, so
This is a mistake. Like for 2 minutes, he's going to be eating. Like less than 2 minutes, but still.
I mean, he's
I
just
get the
like he
opportunity
was
to
already
stop him.
hungry, like you know
I stopped him.
he was already
Simple as
super
that.
hungry, like, and then you just like
And he's a
Do
thin
you need
blood. He
like a
doesn't know any
melee
better.
strength check or something?
It's
Say it again?
strength and melee.
I mean, strength and melee, but I mean, if he's in the middle and can't react anyways,
But I'm rolling with an advantage here. At least this is how the 20 works.
So in combat, it's a -2 penalty, and you need to do a strength and melee and do at least 5 damage before halving. Because he's not reacting, he won't get a roll versus it. But I
Okay.
think there is a point to what Helen is saying, that like maybe she might not even be strong enough to push.
the
Well,
stake like
I
deep
don't know. We'll
enough
see.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
because he's not paralyzed like the other guy was. He might be able to. I don't know. We'll see.
So strength and melee.
Strength and melee.
2 successes.
Sorry, 3?
2.
2. Okay, so I guess he's not reacting, so it's going to be the 2 superficial halves down to 1.
At that point, I'm gonna whistle and have Cisco try and knock this guy off of me.
Oh yeah, he's not
Nice.
expecting it. So,
Never forget the horse in the room.
yeah, I mean, like, cause like at this point, Jason or Samuel looks at Javier and is being like, "Oh, what the hell did you do now, little missy?" And then like when that split second, Cisco is able to act.
4 successes.
3 successes. Oh no!
Oh.
Pop! It's enough to get him. It's enough to knock him. Because again, he's like straddling you, like his arms stretched out. It's enough to knock him off of you for the briefest of seconds. But that's all you need. And while he isn't staked, Javier, now like it's definitely like his mind is off this woman. He throws the woman to the ground, and starts to make his way towards you. His hunger was definitely not satiated with that.
I'm gonna.
Excuse me, are we talking about Javier?
Yes.
He's in torpor.
What's that? He had to do
Stake?
the
Heart?
5. Well, I thought that okay. So with this here, we're talking about doing 5 damage before he could be torpored. Is that what I-
No,
is that
if
what I
you
heard
put a
correctly?
stake to someone, he is in torpor. You can enter torpor through combat, because if you lose blood, you fall into torpor, and then you cannot be awakened that easily, and you are going to stay in torpor for a given period of time according to your humanity. But if someone puts a stake through you, you
mean, you're
enter
just
torpor until the stake is removed.
I mean, then he has fallen to the ground and is in torpor.
I'm literally going to grab him and start walking for the prince. I don't care about anything right now. I just want to pride. Oops. Too soon?
As soon as Cisco knocks Samuel off of me, I'm gonna jump up and jump on top of him and say, "Sorry about this, Sammy," and go to bite.
Oh! All right.
Oh, dang.
I think this is just going to be a strength and brawl. You're just going to chomp in on him.
Yeah. So, regardless of the number of successes rolled, Vampire Fangs do 2 points of damage with the win. They do aggravated damage And then on turns following a successful bite attack, the vampire can feed from the target.
Yeah, he got 2 successes to try to dodge your to try to move his head out of the way real quick. Where are you trying to bite him?
Right. Huh?
Where are you trying to bite him?
On the neck.
Okay, yeah, he's trying to move his neck, but I don't know. Let's see if he's able to.
So I have to remove 2 dice from this because it's a called shot. Because it's easier to defend from.
You're eating from. Oh my god.
A vampire. It's still not great. 2 successes.
Well, 2 meets beats. I got 2 as well.
So that'll do 2 aggravated damage to him, and then on the next turn, I can start feeding. I have to make the attack again, but I don't have the penalty because I'm already synced in.
It's really weird. He is definitely a vampire, but it's a little less. The blood's a little less potent than I don't know. Has Jace ever fed from a vampire before?
The first time, he was turned, but I don't know about since then.
Yeah, it just doesn't taste quite the same. There's a little bit more.
I haven't even started tasting.
Oh,
it
true. Yeah, there's a little bit more like that squirts from the wound. Then I guess we should say than like your typical vampire.
That might be. That it should be a frenzy check though.
Well then, check the frenzy then, because
I am tasting it.
Yeah. You could
Taste of Blood while at Hunger 4 is a difficulty 3.
Are you gonna frenzy on Sammy?
I'm frenzying. That's 2 successes, but 2 1s on the hunger as well. So that's a 0.
I think. I'm gonna move us to a solo screen real quick. Jace. I think everything begins to slow down for you. You kind of gain the upper hand. Sorry, Sammy. Go into bite. There's a brief moment there where you hear Sammy exhale with almost glee at you biting into his neck. And everything just goes really, really slow. I'm gonna shut the music off too. Everything begins in this weird, not necessarily clarity, but you see the other man staked in the hallway. You see Rebecca picking up Javier. And walking.
I hear Cisco whinnying behind us.
Right. And it's all kind of in slow motion for just 1 second. And you just hear this in the back of your head. It's been a long time since we've tasted this. Take your prize. And everything kind of snaps back into the place, and you are just kind of free to act. How does it look as you begin your frenzy on Samuel?
Well, technically you take control for the duration of the frenzy.
I take control.
And the hunger frenzy ends once hunger is at 1 or below.
I think at first he doesn't realize that you are frenzying or really what frenzying is. He's still pretty new to this without giving away too much. So he just kind of is in this brief moment of ecstasy as you bite into him, oh, this is pretty intense. Okay, you can. What are you doing there, partner? And yeah, so for this moment, at this point you're starting to feed. It's enough time has passed. He's kind of the first few seconds is taken. With that blissful joy, he's starting to get worried now as he's wait,
what's Eleanor doing?
Eleanor, what's going on?
That's a good question. Oh, where? So the one other black dude, what is he doing?
He's in torpor. He's staked and is lying on the ground.
Oh, that was the first guy.
Yeah.
Okay. I am just amazed at what the white folk are doing at this point, to be honest.
I love it.
We
Absolutely
bad.
love it.
Just taking everybody down.
Just taking them down. Take them down. Just
But Rebecca, you have the man in the
Javier.
black clothes. Javier, you have him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm literally like holding him down. His corpse, technically.
And that woman is passed. The woman he was holding is passed out on the ground, blood pooling from the wound in her arm.
Okay, so she's probably gonna die, and that's probably for the best. So I think
Toreador.
I guess I'm
This
just
is my
thinking.
line.
I guess I'm just thinking we would have to turn her to keep the
No.
secret, and we can't do that. So
Okay. In game.
Become what you've been hunting.
In game.
I just thought of something really morbid.
I can
If I
solve
found
the
a bottle
situation. As always.
Well, Eleanor, do you share? You said you thought of something morbid.
If I find like a container or something for the woman's blood, so it doesn't go to waste.
I mean, it's
You
the university.
Think like a true vampire.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to do that.
Wait,
Yeah. What's up?
Eleanor?
Eleanor remembers being told to bring the heads. So she's going to try to figure out a way to, if we're taking people back to the prince, try to figure out how to take the other man, the staked man.
Okay. I mean, he can't resist. I mean, I think you're
Right.
strong enough to pick him up, but now you're gonna have to. You guys are carrying 2 staked bodies through a crowded construction site.
Don't worry, I'll be done in a minute.
Blood
Are we the
pooling in the
Animorphs?
university, in the main hallway of the university. This young Hispanic woman is just being like bleeding out on the
don't
floor
worry.
with a horse
gonna-
in the middle of this whole building. Madness.
Do not make assumptions. I have a plan.
So, okay, so there's no way we can all ride that horse and bring these bodies back. So I want to look for something that we can reasonably put them on, tie it to the horse, and maybe bring it back.
Or we can
It's gonna be quite
just-
public, but
Or we can send someone to bring the prince here instead of carrying 3 different bodies with us and the woman. Sorry, time out. The prince is a Ventru. He can erase this woman's memories and the mortal lives. I would do that, but most likely the prince can do it better.
all right.
The prince can come here and find the 3 people staked or in torpor, punish them accordingly, and with his resources, he can erase the whole situation without us having to do anything. We succeed, we prove ourselves, we get our rewards, and we're out of here.
All right. Well, then I'm going to try to bandage this woman's wounds so she doesn't die. This is going to be difficult to get all these people back to the prince. So how about I go and get him or get someone associated with him so they can help us with this situation?
Good. So you're going to call the prince, and I'm going to stay here and keep them unconscious. They cannot be awakened with a stake through their bodies, but if anything goes wrong, I can still hold them. And you can run faster than any of us.
All right. You guys be careful. That's right. I can run, I think.
You
Okay,
can
that's
run
celerity.
with 45 kilometers per hour, I think.
Zoom.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Okay.
You haven't needed a mode of transportation this entire game. You're faster than like modes of transportation at this point in time, probably.
I'm behind my dusty bar. Okay.
That's
yeah.
true.
All right. Sounds good. Then I will run back. Y'all stay safe.
I'm taking out my knife and I'm sitting like this, ready to do anything if something happens, but bitch mode is activated and I'm doing like that style.
I love it.
As Eleanor is leaving, she looks back at Jace and his situation. And
Yeah,
kinda
Jace is going to town on young Samuel.
because Eleanor hasn't seen anything like this in a long time.
Let's check back in on that real quick. So Samuel at this point is now starting to like trying to force you off. He's now for a moment he was like in this blissful ecstasy, and he was just like kind of rolling with the punches and just letting you have your moment. But now like he's looking over, he's seeing that, this woman is like bleeding out, like his two compatriots have been staked and lying on the ground. He's like, what the hell is happening? Get off of me. And he's gonna try to force you off with a strength and brawl. So if you'd like to meet with strength and brawl to keep him pinned.
How much blood have I
Can
taken?
I also participate?
Well, let's do this one first, and then we'll bring in Rebecca into this. But I think at this point you probably satiated at least like 2 of your hunger.
Okay. Because I'm still frenzying, I'm gonna make a rouse check to increase my strength.
Okay.
That's a failure, so I'll gain a little bit of hunger after this check.
So you're back up to 3, and he only has 1 success of strength and brawl to try to push you off.
That means he has 2 extra hunger now, by the way.
Oh yeah. Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
So he was pretty hungry at the time. Shit, he's gonna have to. Yeah. Are we frenzying on each other? Is this what's happening?
That sounds pretty hot to me.
Oh God, Samuel, this is more than.
I'm using a willpower also to re-roll my 2 non-hunger dice, so I got 4 successes.
Okay, he got 2. One was I think it's a critical success on his frenzies. It's 2 10s. One was a hunger dice, and then another 2 successes. So yeah, he's
not frenzying.
He's not frenzying. He's keeping his cool, but he is like right at the limit of like where he is. So he's gonna he's gonna try to pin you down and take it back.
Right. I just rolled to. I'm sorry. I rolled to keep him down.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he only had 1 success against that, by the way.
So like my arms pumped full of extra blood, and like the tile underneath I think cracks a little bit as I'm like pushing him down further.
Oh, this is probably the best. This is the craziest night in a long time there, partner. And he goes to try to get a bite in on your neck.
Go for it.
It's just like a strength.
It's a -2.
Oh, yeah.
Roll, by the way.
Well, that's 1 success then. Oh, hold on. Let me just re-roll that, because that's... Yeah, well, it's 2 successes.
4.
Okay, so he's not able to get a bite off on you.
Mm-mm. And the beast inside me wants to drain him fully dry.
I think this is a good place for us to call it for tonight. So, thank you all for joining us on the penultimate episode of Blood on the Bayou. Be sure to catch us next week for the final installment of this limited run of Vampire the Masquerade. We definitely appreciate all of you sticking around with us for the whole session. Make sure to follow and subscribe so you can keep up to date for the next session, as well as all of the other great tabletop RPG content we have here on Manapod Studios. And until next time, faithful kindred, we will see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.